it is Joshua here, and today I am putting my mic closer to my mouth so then you can hear me better. But today we are on Pokemon Showdown, and if you do not know what Pokemon Showdown is, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? But moving on, so I've made a team on Pokemon Showdown, which I guess I could explain to you what it is. It's basically just, if you don't know, it's a website where you can make every single Pokemon. It's not a hacking website. You can't put these Pokemon into the game, but you can change their stats. You can see their their base stats. You can see what items you could do, the strategies, the abilities. You could see everything about a certain Pokemon. So, like my Gastron here, and you can also edit the EVs and IVs. I'm gonna just, you saw nothing. So, here is our Gastron here with full special attack investment and full special defense investment. So, it's kind of like a half tank, more just a special defensive tank. And it has Storm Drain just in case it gets hit with a water type move. So then it has Earth Power, Ancient Power, and Scald just for kind of backup moves and recover if it gets low. Ancient Power comes in really handy in a battle coming up. So moving on to Porygon Z. Porygon Z is pretty awesome in my opinion. He has full special attack investment, full speed investment. He's holding a Silk Scarf, which increases his normal attacks by 1.2%. He has adaptability, which means that his stab moves will be a 2%, not 2%, just a 2 modifier instead of a 1.5, which I'm pretty sure it's percentages. And he has Tri-Attack, which not only is going to get stab, or cough cough, and is a normal type attack, cough cough, so Tri-Attack is going to be doing a ridiculous amount of damage. It's going to be like you got hit by a truck. That's how much it's going to hurt. But then, since it does all these extra things, it's like another truck came up behind the truck that already hit you, and then hits that truck. Moving on to Miss Magius, which is basically the exact same thing. It has the exact same bonuses. It has the exact... Well, it doesn't have the exact same ability, but they're literally just the exact same. But it has a lot more coverage. It has Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Shadow Ball, and Psychic. But it has Choice Specs, which makes all the coverage not as useful, but makes everything, like, incredibly powerful. Especially if I continue to do a chain of it, which I usually do with a couple of moves. So, moving on to Bisharp. Bisharp is pretty good, in my opinion. I gave it Life Orb, so it does a lot more damage. It has full speed investment and full attack investment, if I click on the stats thing. And it has Night Slash, Poison Jab, Psycho Cut, and Iron Head, which are pretty good moveset. Now, Galvantula is the setup Pokemon. I know I'm speaking really fast, and I should probably slow down, but I tried to record this a little bit ago, and when I went to the battles, the music was on, and it was super loud. You couldn't even hear my voice, so that kind of took down a lot of morale, but at the same time, I'm still doing this. This is basically my second recording. Okay, so Sticky Web, which is overpowered. Like, incredibly overpowered. And Focus Sash, so no matter what, it cannot be taken down in one turn. Unless they use something like Bisharp's Poison Jab, get it down to 1 HP, and it gets the 30% chance to get the poison. But the chances of that happening are very, very low. So moving on to our final Pokemon, which is Zekrom. Zekrom is probably my favorite legendary of all the legendaries because it's just, I really like electric types. Like, electric types are really my favorite type. So I have 2 of them on my team. And Porygon Z has Discharge. So, I like Zekrom mostly because look at this right here. That's some good attack. Now, even if he is lonely, which apparently he isn't because he has a full team behind him, he has the Electrum Z. And Bolt Strike. Bolt Strike Electrum Z is incredibly powerful. If I'm right, it's 200 base power. I could probably go look it up. in a second, but I don't really want to. So then it has Bolt Strike to take care of anything that's weak to electric, Dragon type, Dragon Claw to take care of Dragon types, Shadow Claw to take care of Ghost types, or actually Psychic types as well, and Stone Edge just to take care of more flying types. Or anything weak to rock, which is a lot of things. So, let's move on to one of the battles, which I think the first battle is not that one, this one. Here it is. So, I'm going to extend the screen a little bit. So, you're probably going to get a little bit of motion. Sorry about that. But, there we go. Music is off. I'm going to make sure that's off. I'm going to set it into slow. So, we're going to start the first battle. Easy peasy. Okay? So, I sent out Galvantula to begin. Galvantula has Unnerve, but that's really just because it didn't have another ability. So I start off with Sticky Web, which is obviously what you're supposed to start off with, and the Decide UI goes for Spirit Shackle, which does perfectly half HP. I go for Bug Buzz, thinking maybe it'd do a little bit more damage, but it doesn't, and then I die. So then Miss Magius comes out. Now, Miss Magius is going to outspeed it, get the Shadow Ball, and kill it in one hit, because it's half Ghost type. So, yay, good job, Miss Magius. Then, for some reason, he switches into Gengar, which confused me a lot, because he knew that it'd get slowed down, and it's a Ghost type, so it just gets one-shot by Shadow Ball, so it doesn't even matter at that point. Then he sends out, that one. Probably Komodo. Komodo. I don't know. Really care. But he goes for Brick Break, somehow predicting that I'd go into Bisharp. Which is confusing because how did he know out of all those Pokemon I'd go into Bisharp? Maybe because I guess the rest of my team is to it. But 4 times super effective Dazzling Gleam is enough to take out the Komodo thing. So he sends out Greninja. His entire team is shiny, by the way, just because he can. So I take back Mr. Magius, and I throw out Porygon Z. I'm going to see a little Porygon Z action in this battle, where he goes for Dark Pulse. It does 70% of its health. Now, instead of going for Discharge, I go for Tri-Attack, because it's not a Water type right now. It's a Dark type because of its protein. So it still goes for Dark Pulse and kills me. So that kind of stinks that I don't have Porygon Z now, but at the same time, Gastron could come in, and it's kind of odd. I go for Ancient Power, and it kills it, which is awesome that I get Ancient Power off, because I really didn't think I'd outspeed a Greninja, but I did. So, here's the Metagross. Clear Body stops it from getting slowed down, but it uses Psychic, which does, like, nothing because of its special defense stat. I go for Earth Power, which in turn just destroys it with a super effective crit. There goes Metagross. So now it's going down to the Charizard. The Charizard is a problem, because it's not just a normal Charizard, it's a Mega Charizard X, which becomes Dragon Fire and loses its flying type, which I didn't really care too much. I still used Ancient Power, and still was super effective because it's half Fire type. And I really didn't know it was going to Mega Evolve. I thought that was probably going to be Gengar or Metagross. But, moving on, there goes my Gastron. So now it's just me, or not just me, it's just my Miss Magius and the Charizard, Zekrom. So Miss Magius goes for Dazzling Gleam, doesn't kill it. It gets the Dragon Rush off and kills Miss Magius. Now, here's the final thing. Zekrom comes out, and I don't take any chances right now, and somehow he outspeeds it, and goes for Gigavolt Havoc, which blows it up. Even though it resisted it, it still blew it up. So, there's the first battle won with this team. So, I'm going to take a real quick cut in the video, so then it doesn't mess up my audio too bad. So, I'll be back in a second. And we are back. So, as you can see here, we are at a different battle, which is obviously a lot of fairy types. Fairy, dragon. So that's kind of weird. So let's just begin. So we're going to pause it and go to slow so that it doesn't go too fast. So blah blah blah, Galvantula comes out, and it goes for Sticky Web, obviously, which is the setup, of course. It's very common. And it goes for Dragon Hammer, which doesn't kill Galvantula, which is good because I just Bug Buzz it and it dies instantly. So yeah, that's why you also use Galvantula and not Ariados, because Galvantula is more powerful. You can actually do stuff after it. But then the Togedemaru comes out and uses Spiky Shield, but it doesn't matter because, well, it protected. Well, I use Bug Buzz, which doesn't really affect the Spiky Shield because it's not a physical attack. So out comes Gastrodon, which probably isn't expecting this. He goes for Gyro Ball, which does like no damage to it. And then he heals up its HP with leftovers. And then Gastrodon goes for Earth Power, which literally kills it. 4 times super effective. Because it's Steel Electric, which is 4 times weak to ground. Which is pretty ridiculous. And then it heals its HP all the way back up to maximum with leftovers. So out comes the Alolan Ninetales, which doesn't even look like it has 9 tails. It just looks like it has a giant cloud behind it with 9 tails coming out of it. I guess it still fits. Well, I get Ancient Power off, and it does a little bit above half health. I guess it's at like 10% more. He goes for Moonblast, which doesn't kill Gastrodon. And I go for Ancient Power, and I get all the boosts from Ancient Power, which is pretty awesome at this point. So, yeah. And then he goes for Blizzard, which doesn't kill Gastrodon because of the boost with the special defense. And then it uses Ancient Power again, gets the boosts again, and kills the Alolan Ninetales. So this Gastrodon is beast moding here right now. Now the Hail and the leftovers are kind of canceling each other out. So, a little note before we continue on. Yes, I get the burn off on Skull, which is awesome. But I was sitting here for like 6 minutes waiting for this person to come back. Not really 6 minutes, that's an exaggeration. Probably like 2 minutes. But they just stopped work. They just like stopped existing. It got down to they had like 90 seconds left, and then bam, they just sent out a Sylveon. So, nonetheless, we continue on. And it uses Moonblast, which does kill Gastrodon, and I lose all those amazing buffs that I got, which kind of stinks. But I'm winning 5v3. And it's burned, and that is minus speed. So it's pretty much up to Galvantula to take out the Sylveon. So I go for Thunderbolt, which doesn't kill it. And you're probably thinking, oh, the burn will kill it. No, because burn does 6% of your health. It has 7%, so it's left with 1% left. So I send out Bisharp, thinking, hey, it's a fairy type. Finally, I'll just use Poison Jab. So it takes enough damage to take it out. Surprisingly, I didn't know that would happen. It's definitely not like it had 1 HP. So next I'm going to the Dedenne, which is half fairy type, so it still dies instantly. I did check it. I like hovered my mouse over top of it, and it's like, oh, Dedenne, electric fairy, and I'm like, oh, never mind, and I'll just blow it up. And then we get down to the Riambi, which dies instantly from Poison Jab. This is why I use Bisharp. Sure, I took 30, actually, no, not 30%, 29% of my health because of that, but, and then they just leave instantly. Not even to GG, which is, it's sad how people can't take that time out of their day. Now, this battle, you're seeing a Rayquaza, a Groudon, a Kyogre, a Metagross, an Espeon, and a Scolipede. The only one here that isn't common is Scolipede. Moving on. So, Espeon comes out, and I know from experience from fighting my friends that Espeon has Magic Bounce. It goes for Double Team, but instead of using Sticky Web, I go for Bug Buzz, which literally takes it down to 1% because of its Focus Sash, which is really smart because it can continue to Double Team and when I use Bug Buzz, it will miss. Then it goes for Double Team again, which gets it to 2 times evasiveness. I still miss. It has 1 HP. And it baton passes, which is kind of sad because I really wanted to kill it. But it switches into the Groudon. I really thought it would have gone into Rayquaza, but no, it went into Groudon. And I use Bug Buzz, which misses because of the 2 times evasiveness. And he goes, and I finally go for Sticky Web because there's not Magic Bounce up. And he goes for Fire Blast, which takes me down to 1 HP because of my Focus Sash. Now I go for Bug Buzz and it does 19%, which is nothing. And then it goes for Thunderbolt, which is pretty ridiculous, saying it's a ground and fire type and uses electric type moves. I mean, you could pass for something that has Lightning Rod, it could have lightning stored inside of it. So I go for Tri Attack, which nearly kills the Groudon instantly. Then it goes for Precise Blades, which misses the Porygon Z. And then I go for Tri Attack again, and it kills the Groudon. And he also pulled up a weakness chart for Porygon and realized it's only weak to fighting types, which he doesn't have any on his team. So he sends out Scolipede, and I go for Tri Attack, which brings it down to 1 health. And then it goes for Sword Dance. Probably didn't think that one through because it still gets its speed boost, which gets rid of the Sticky Web, basically. But I'm still faster than it, so it dies. Now, all the times that I've used Tri Attack in this battle, it's had a 20% chance of freezing, burning, or paralyzing someone. And none of the times has it done that. But I used Dark Pulse instead because I don't really want to waste PP, since it only was at 1% and it didn't really matter what move I used. So he sends out Metagross, which was an odd move on his part because he just saw me use Dark Pulse. So he goes for Metagross, which I was mistaken, and goes for Dynamic Punch, which kills Porygon Z instantly. So he does have a fighting type attack. And I just sent out Mismagius, and it's pretty obvious he's going to win this one. He uses Earthquake, which is dumb, because, I mean, it's Mismagius. It's a ghost type and it has Levitate. I don't know why you didn't know that. But, still gets one shot with Shadow Ball. And he's down to his Rayquaza and Kyogre. So his Rayquaza comes out, and since he Mega Evolved his Metagross, the Rayquaza isn't going to Mega Evolve. Which I kind of thought it was for a second, and I was like, oh yeah. So I use Shadow Ball, takes it down a bunch, it uses Draco Meteor, kills Mismagius. So that kind of stinks. But it's just Rayquaza. So I send out Zekrom. Now, I'm going to pause this right here. Before I resume this match, I send out Zekrom because look at this special attack right here. That right there allows Zekrom to survive Draco Meteor. It loses even more special attack. And then gets hit with that and dies. And then it's only Zekrom, it's Kyogre. I have Gastron and Bisharp behind me. And I just go for someone's going like okay, so that was just my friend calling me on a desktop app called Discord. It's basically just Skype. Okay, moving on with our battle, since I was interrupted by it dies instantly. Yay, Gigavolt Havoc does damage, no way. So, I win that battle. Now, as you've seen, we've beaten this guy. We've beaten Ben35. We've beaten Natsu05, and we've beaten Felix T 3 once. So, I'm moving on to something that kind of makes me mad. Is when people use a team of all legendaries. This is like this thing in Pokemon Showdown that it just makes me so mad. So, we're just going to start the battle. Put it into slow. Shoot, we're going to set it to normal because we need to go through this fast because this is boring. Boring that someone uses a team of tire legendaries. So I go for sticky web, normal stuff, fire blast. There goes focus sash because no one needs focus sash. It does less damage than it did the last time we fought a primal Groudon, which is like bleh. So I send out Gastrodon and I'm like, oh, I'll just use Scald, and then I realize, oh, it's Desolate Land, doesn't matter. Gone. No Scald being used today. Next, it goes for Precise Blades again, and kills my Gastrodon. I send out Bisharp, which isn't really the smartest move. I go for Night Slash, doesn't do much damage. And that's Precise Blades, and I die. So that's now still 6v3 at this point. So I send out Mismagius. He switches into a Giratina, which is really odd because I don't know why he did that. But I switch into a Porygon Z because I'm like, oh, he's going to use Shadow Force. But no, he goes for Draco Meteor instead. Loses some special attack, and I hit him with Discharge to see if I could, like, paralyze him or something. But he goes for Shadow Force, probably thinking Porygon Z is Psychic type. It does nothing. So I go for Dark Pulse, and it takes him down a decent amount. And I get the flinch off, which is awesome. And the Dark Pulse kills the Giratina. So I killed one of them, but at the expense of like 3 of my Pokemon. So then that's the Rayquaza. Oh my god, it Mega Evolved. I mean, no one saw that one coming. Tri-Attack nearly it gets it down to half health. It outrages and kills Porygon. So now I'm moving down to this Magius and Zekrom. So I go for Dazzling Gleam, which does kill the Rayquaza, surprisingly. It outsped it, but okay. Now it's Dialga. So I go for Dazzling Gleam. It goes for Corkscrew Crash and kills my Mismagius. So now it's just down to my Zekrom and Dialga. I bet you can't guess what's gonna happen. I use Dragon Claw, doesn't kill it, and then it goes for Draco Meteor and kills me. So yeah, if you play Pokemon Showdown, don't do this. Don't. Just stop using teams of all legendaries. It's not funny in, like, any way. At all. Okay, so, without me getting incredibly mad about this and mad about that, blah, 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 I'm just gonna end the video here. So, thank you everybody for watching. This is basically my first Pokemon Showdown video, where I'm starting to build a team for my competitive game in actual Pokemon. So, thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode of whatever I'm recording. So, see ya.